Hello, and thank you for listening to Operation Agency Freedom, where we are bringing you top secret advice from the world's most badass digital agency owners. These amazing men and women are sharing their stories of how they have built 6, 7, and 8-figure digital agencies and how you can too. My name is Chris Martinez, CEO of Dude, where we help digital agencies by giving them the people and the processes so that they can scale profitably. And today I am joined by my friend, a person that I admire and who also shares a similar business model to me. His name is Chris Chasteen from contentcucumber.com. What's up, Chris?
Hey, how's it going?
Good, man. And as I just mentioned right before we jumped on, you are my tocayo.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
I just learned that term literally like, I don't know, a week or two ago. So for those that are listening who have never heard the term tocayo, which I didn't until 2 weeks ago, it's somebody in Mexico that shares the same first name as you. So apparently that's a thing.
All right, cool.
Well, thanks for being on here, man. So, you know, as I was mentioning to you earlier, as we start off every show, we do a little kind of like roundtable discussion. And we were doing our research. Liz was out there mining the internet for information about you.
Nice.
And we found that you actually are a composer and a pianist and that you have a huge passion for music, which I found very interesting because, like, you know, I've talked to you a bunch of times and you never ever brought that up. So I want to talk about that, man. So talk about your background in music, and maybe there's like an a tie and how your music has helped you in business. I don't know. Tell us about that.
Yeah, I think music has helped me in business, and inside the background is like is finding your own voice, because when you go on stage and you perform, which is like one of my favorite things to do, you can't really be worried about what other people are thinking too much, and you just have to go and do your performance, and you can get the feedback after you do it. But when you're on stage, you can't like stop and ask the audience like, oh, well, what did you think about that? You know, you just have to go and assume that they like it. And business is pretty much similar. It's like you just have to like trust your gut and like start there, and then you can tweak and like get advice as you go. But if you focus too much on what other people are saying, you'll get so many like different noises that it'll be difficult for you to just make a decision. So I think that's where it helped me with business and also the creativity side.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So my performance background, I performed a lot as a kid. So I've been playing since I was like 4, and I did a lot of competitions and performed as a kid. And then in high school, I did a lot of performances there too. That's when I started having more fun with them. And that's when I started performing my music. And like one of the things is I'd go out on stage and I'd have the sheet music set on the piano, and I'd go up to stage and I'd just throw all the sheet music off the piano and just start playing. And I just do fun stuff like that to capture people's like attention and be like, it's kind of like classical music, but you got to do something a little funny to get people to be like, oh, what's this guy gonna do?
That was going to be my next question, is what is like your specialty or genre of piano that you specialize in or that you love to play?
Yeah, so my 2 favorite styles to play would be like late romantic classical piano and Latin. I love Latin music, like Afro-Cuban music's some of my favorite music on earth.
Wow.
I also play flamenco guitar.
Holy shit.
So, yeah, I really like I like a lot of Latin flavor.
Did your parents get you into the piano, or is it something that you just gravitated to when you were a kid? Like super.
No, I don't think any 4-year-old's like, I want to play piano. Well, maybe, but
Beethoven, you know, Mozart, those guys did, but
no, I mean, a lot of those guys, even their parents were like, you're going to do this.
Really? Oh, wow.
You'd be good at it. Yeah, definitely Mozart's father was like that. But my parents pretty much made me do it, and I reluctantly did it until about high school, and that's when I fell in love with it. And I was pretty thankful that they made me do it. And you know, as an adult, I've done performances. I've actually organized a couple Christmas concerts that were for charity, and I got to perform at those, and I produced and directed those shows. And recently, one of the things I did was there's this huge dome. It's one of the largest freestanding domes in the world in Indiana, which is kind of crazy. And I know the guy whose company installed the new LED light system around the side of the dome.
Okay.
So I spent months working with him and his engineers to actually write a light show alongside like a Christmas medley that I would play live. And we had to wire up a light metronome, basically was like my conductor, so that way I'd stay on time with the light show. So that was kind of a
So
neat.
you performed in the light show live, or?
Yes. Yep. Yeah. So I had a light metronome that would actually be flashing like blue and white, so I'd know the beat, and it would flash different colors, so I'd know what part of the light show it was, so I'd know when to switch to different parts of the medley. And I think that was like a year, and that was 2 Christmases ago, I think. So I need to get back out there and start performing again. But
Hey, dude, anytime you want to come down to Tijuana and perform down here, I'll set it up. Yeah.
that'd be awesome. That'd be a lot of fun.
And it's Latin music too.
I can play Latin music. It is my own flavor, so I don't do like covers, but I just listen to a lot of like Latin styles, and I'll just make up my own stuff.
So I have a question for you, because I am not musically talented. I mean, I played the piano when I was a kid. Every Asian kid is like forced to play the piano when you're younger. So I played the piano for like 4 years, but I like hated every minute of it, and I don't remember really anything. And I played the trumpet for a little while, and I was told that I had some talent in that. But I can't write music. Like my brain does not work like that. What is your process when it comes to composing music?
Yeah, so actually I was talking to my drummer. I started a band, and we were talking about this the other day about writing music, and him and I are really good at just like jamming until we figure something out, and then we write a song just in real time. And the way we kind of both approach it is like you're basically making mistakes until it sounds good. Like that's all you're doing really. Is you're like
Okay.
you just it's almost like you're just fumbling around and making random stuff up until it sounds good, and you're like, oh, that sounds cool, and then you run with that. Another thing is having chord structures that you like is a huge deal. So like just finding some songs that you like and then learning the chords of the song and just playing the chords of the song and then playing a random melody inside those chords. That's a really good place to start. That's pretty much where I started, was just like that kind of thing.
And then do you add lyrics later?
For like the pop rock music that I do, yeah. We add sometimes the lyrics come first, but rarely. Usually it's the music that comes first.
Awesome, man. Well, you're going to have to shoot us over some YouTube clips or something so we can post those in the show notes.
Yeah, actually, if you go to chrischasteen.com, it forwards to my SoundCloud. It has a bunch of my music on it.
Oh, perfect. That's easy. We'll make sure that Liz hooks that up in the show notes. So, all right. Well, let's get into Content Cucumber. So you and I met at the Design Pickle conference back in December. So, I don't know, like 10 months ago?
Yeah.
It was really interesting because both of us were inspired by Design Pickle. You with content creation and me with design and development. And so we both kind of like took the inspiration from Design Pickle and ran with it. And, we've gone to the same conferences, and we both had a booth at Traffic and Conversion. So tell everybody about Content Cucumber and the amazing work that you guys do.
Yeah. So Content Cucumber, we write blogs and anything written really. We specialize in blogs really, but we can do other written copy as well. And we do it on a subscription basis. So right now it's still $490 a month. That was our original price. I don't know how long that'll be the price, but essentially what we do for that is you get a writer on demand, and it's like having a writer on your team, and you just make requests. You can queue up as many as you want, and the writer will just work on them one at a time.
Yep.
And they'll send them back. I think it's kind of similar to your process too, right?
Yep. Very, very similar. So how did you get the inspiration? Because I know that you had an agency, but this wasn't Content Cucumber wasn't your original plan, was it?
So actually my first company was an e-commerce company.
That's right.
I still have that company. We just actually hit a huge milestone, and thanks in part to content. But I was a Design Pickle user, my e-commerce store, and I love Design Pickle, and I was trying to get more blogs because I knew that organic was like, that would be the way that because I was spending, I don't know, $5,000 a month on Google ads. And I was like, all right, I know if I have a really good organic strategy, I can lower the amount of ads I'm spending and be able to get just as much impact. And I was right, because now I spend like 3,000 and I get a higher return on ad spend, and I get, everything worked in the right direction. But I didn't have a service to fulfill that need. I really wanted just someone like a Design Pickle that did content writing.
Mm-hmm.
So I employed my friend. Basically, we co-founded the company, him and his brother. Actually, when he moved back from Argentina, he lived in Argentina for a long time. And we went to college together. We were in a stand-up duo together. We did stand-up comedy together, and we perform music together too. He's a really good musician as well, and he's a composer too. And so we just got along really well. And I knew he was a fantastic writer. He's a creative writer. He went to U of H, which is like a really good school for that.
Mm-hmm.
So I knew he would be a great candidate, because I didn't really know anything about writing or the process of writing. I just knew I wanted writing, and I knew it was the service that we needed. So we basically came up with a plan to start the Design Pickle of blogs.
Mm-hmm.
And the name Content Cucumber obviously was a little bit of a joke at first, because it's eerily similar, but I don't know, it just stuck and people loved it. So, and Design Pickle was cool with it too. So we're like, all right, well, we're going to stick with it.
Were you friends with Russ and Jim and all those guys before you started Content Cucumber, or is this a relationship you developed after?
No, definitely afterwards. In fact, a lot of times we were a bit nervous about what they would think, and if they would be, upset that we were using the name Content Cucumber.
Right. Well, what did they say? Like, or did you approach them and be like, we're Content Cucumber? Were they like, I imagine that they were like super friendly, because that's just how they are. But what was the first conversation that you had with them?
So the staff loved it. Pretty much every staff member at Design Pickle absolutely loved the name. They thought it was awesome. They thought it was great, especially because they knew Russ had been talking about how there will be more Design Pickles of
blog. Right.
And so they thought it was cool to see that come true, and they loved the name. They loved everything about it. Russ was a little not certain at first. I could tell he was a little he wasn't sure what to think at first. But I think he warmed up to it, and I think now he's all right with it. I haven't really just straight up asked him like, hey, what do you think about the name? Maybe I will sometime. But yeah, no, I got to know all those guys pretty well. So
it's funny because, with there is some crossover between what Design Pickle does and what we do here at Dude. They're focused specifically on design, but we do some design work. We do Facebook ad graphics and banners and stuff like that, which is also things that they do. Mm-hmm. And I have been a Design Pickle customer in the past. I'm not right now, because we have a ton of designers, but we had one time when a gal went out on leave, and we needed a designer right away. So we signed up for Design Pickle. It's amazing. It was an amazing service. And I actually learned a lot from the customer experience side that we've applied to our own business. But yeah, when I met Russ and Jim for the first time, I was kind of like, well, are they going to be annoyed? But they were just like so nice. And I also tried to help them. So my first actual interaction with them was when this gal, Hannah, who I met at Traffic and Conversion. I don't know if you ever met Hannah. But I gave her a copy of my book, and I said, hey, if Russ or anybody at Design Pickle want to learn how to get involved in Mexico, just have them hit me up. I'll just, I'm an open book. I'm more than willing to help them find designers down there. Coincidentally, they did open up an office in Monterrey, or they were starting to find people around the Monterrey, Mexico area. So we ended up jumping on a call, and everybody was just like, it was just like, jumping on a call with friends. We were all kind of like growing our business in the same direction, and it was just such an easy vibe, and everybody got along, and we've been friends ever since. So
yeah, that's awesome.
Really, really cool guy. And that's a lesson in itself. It's like, don't be afraid to reach out to other people. Most of the time they're going to be cool.
Yeah. And if they're not cool about it, it's because you're probably onto something.
So just push harder.
Yeah.
So tell us about the actual work that you guys are doing at Content Cucumber, because content is definitely an area where I would say 90% of agencies struggle. So what are you guys doing that's that's helped you to scale on the content side?
Well, it's because we niche down into a service. Like a lot, like that was the whole design pickle thing. Instead of niching down into an industry, niching down into a service. We serve a lot of different markets. E-commerce is the biggest one, just because that's my background, so it's easy for me to sell to them. Because I can speak their language and be like, okay, well, here's how content can help you. Here's examples of content actually working for e-com. So yeah, but anyway, just niching down and only having one thing that you focus on is a lot easier, because what a lot of agencies do is they try to do everything for everyone always, and I think that strategy gets a lot of agencies in trouble.
I will absolutely back you up on that. That definitely gets agencies into trouble.
Yeah. So I would say pick something that you're really good at, something that your clients are like, wow, every time you do this specific thing, like whatever it is, like it could be a Facebook ads thing that you're really good at and people love it. Well, it's like, well, if you just advertise a thing you're really good at and talk about that thing, even if you still want to provide the other services, which is fine, but scale the thing that you're really good at. That would be my input, and what Content Cucumber does well.
Yeah. So like how many blog posts or articles are you guys putting out a month right now?
For all of our clients?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'll have to look. A lot. I know that we're in the
like hundreds or thousands, or
probably thousands. Yeah. I think by now I don't know what the number is. I should look. I know that there's a way to look at request numbers. I think one of the last ones I saw was like, it was like, I don't remember, man. Maybe 10,000 or something. I don't know. It was a lot. Like
10,000 a month.
No. Since we started.
Okay.
But we're pretty young, so we're probably up to almost 1,000 a month. I'm not exactly sure. That's something I'll have to look into, but it's growing all the time.
Yeah, dude, that is a shit ton. Because at our peak, we were doing like close to 500 a month, and that was like a full-time job, just coordinating with our writer that we had, who was based out of Florida. I mean, she was pumping out blog posts like nobody's business.
You have one writer and 500 a month?
Well, so what she did is she had like a team of stay-at-home moms, and all they did was write for her. And she must have been paying them peanuts, because we were not paying a lot for those articles.
I see.
The volume of it, we ended up paying, in my opinion, it was a lot of money. But yeah, I can't even imagine what she was paying the actual writers. It couldn't have been much. Yeah. But yeah, dude, I mean, that was like a full-time job. Like Aaron, who's our support person still with Dude, with our agency, Aaron was doing that. Like, I would say a full week was just coordinating the blog posts. And then of course you got to send it over to the developers, and they got to post it on the site and everything. It was an operation, man.
Yeah. Yeah. We have a pretty good team. Isaac he's the chief editor, so he would know all these things a little more. He might be like 1,000. What are you talking about? We're doing like 600 or something. I don't know. I feel like
1,000's a nice round number.
I know, right? I know. So I'm like, well, we'll get there. We will be doing 1,000. I know we will. So anyway, he handles all the operations, and we have a really solid team. Inside of our writing team, you got a chief editor, lead editor, and then we got a lot of independent writers that handle multiple clients. And some of those writers have just been absolutely fantastic. Pretty much any of our independent writers who are actually doing the management of the clients now are super, super good.
Now, let me ask you a question when it comes to retention, because this has always been a thing, because your service is month to month, correct?
Yeah, that's right.
And we actually just switched to month after looking at metrics. But when we started, we had everybody on a 12-month contract, which was great because we knew that we would be able to service them for 12 months.
Built-in retention.
Exactly. But now that we switched to month, we're even more concerned about retention and client experience. So how do you guys handle client retention, or what are some of the things that you all are doing to ensure that your people stick? Because with any subscription model, it's the churn that ends up killing you.
It can be. Yeah. The number one thing is making sure that they're all really qualified. A red flag for me is always when someone says that sounds like a lot of money. If $500 a month sounds like a lot to you, then you're probably not the best fit.
Yeah.
But if you're like, oh, wow, that is so cheap, it's like, okay, well, you're in the right category then. There we go. So just like the first qualifying step is just making sure that it doesn't sound uber expensive to them. Um, and that, that's the first one. So making sure that on the, before they even become a client, that you're getting someone you're setting them up for success. Something that we're working on now to help with that is client training, because something that we find too is there's some clients that they request certain things and they're like, oh, that's not what I wanted. And we're like, well, if you give an example of what you like, it'll be like that. So
Yep.
just what you like. So we've been working through that and client training to make people stick around. I think ClickFunnels is a great example of someone who did a fantastic job of that, because their product, to be honest, is not like the best product that I've seen that does that kind of website builder thing.
Yep.
But the whole training side is what, he's selling a dream, and the training stuff is really good. So we're working on that. But what we do now is we just have qualified clients. And then if they're not requesting often, then we will reach out to them and we'll write them an article every now and again, just if they haven't requested something in some time. That way they don't ever feel like, well, we've kind of had you for months and not requested anything and you're just like sitting on retention. So we try to go, out and do something about that.
Awesome. So how would you know what to write about though? You just look at previous examples, or?
Yeah, if it's a we always just go by their website. That's the easiest thing. Go to your website and see what it is that we could write about for your website. That's pretty much it.
Now, have you guys seen any copycats or anybody else who does or who is trying to do what you guys do? Because honestly, I haven't really seen a subscription model similar to what you guys do out in the marketplace. Like I feel like Content Cucumber is the only one in town.
So I have seen more and more popping up. But a lot of them, what they'll do is they operate a little bit different on the back end, which is they'll have like a huge pool of writers that they'll access. And I'm assuming what they do is they have some special account with Text Broker or something. That's like, it's clearly they'll be like smaller businesses and we'll be like, we have 10,000 writers on demand. Okay, well, obviously you're tapped into some bigger network like Text Broker, or like even like Freelancer or something. I don't know what you're doing, but at Content Cucumber, we actually hire every single writer. It's a pretty painstaking process to become a Content Cucumber writer, but we really want to have a culture. Like, I feel like if you're just outsourcing everything to something like Text Broker, you can't build a culture that way.
Absolutely. I agree 100%.
Yeah. So our people, we know who they are. We talk to them on Slack, and we'll have events where we'll meet up over Zoom and, hang out and get to know them.
How do you translate that into your marketing to differentiate yourself in the marketplace?
We don't really work too hard on that because most of the people who find us have never heard of anything like what we're doing.
Okay.
Also, I find that the second that you start worrying too much about your competitors and you start talking about your competitors, then you're playing the wrong game, because you need to be innovating on what you see and what you want to improve on, and not what they're doing.
Got it.
Because it's without having like a corporate spy or something, you can't really know if what they're doing is really working.
Right.
You might assume, oh yeah, that seems like it's working, but you don't really know. You don't know you don't have access to their P&L.
True. Very true. So just focus on your own stuff and just make sure you're over delivering for your clients.
Yeah, just continually improve on your own service.
All right. So what year did you start Content Cucumber? Last year. Okay. Yeah. So let's say that you could go back in time and you could meet up with Chris Chasteen a year ago when you're starting up Content Cucumber. Mm-hmm. What's some advice that you would give your younger self?
Man, this is one of those questions where it's like, if I told myself something, would I be where I am today? Because I learned some of the things the hard way that I think you need to learn. So I think I just affirm. I'd be like, you're on the right path. Just keep going. Just move. Anytime you have an idea and you want to try something, move, because you're usually right. And when you're wrong, you'll find out. It's like, so just move, just do it. Don't overthink stuff. Just start doing stuff.
What's an example of something that you were wrong at?
I'd say Google ads. Trying to do Google ads for content service was a little tricky. The leads weren't all that great. We still haven't figured that mechanism out yet. Actually, ads is something I need to move on, because really all the clients we have today are from trade shows, word of mouth, and affiliates. That's pretty much it. We don't have very many. I think we have like 2 clients that came from ads. So we need to work on that side of things. So that's something that I would go back in time and be like, move on this stuff. Don't wait around forever. You got to try it.
Yeah, I feel like, we've definitely, I would say, wasted a lot of money. But again, in hindsight, everything was learning experience. But on the marketing side, we've spent more money and not seen the types of returns that we've been looking for. But I feel like that's just a part of growing the business. Like you're gonna fall flat on your face every once in a while. And actually, I fall flat on my face. I feel like I fall flat on my face more times than I land on my feet. But we're learning.
Well, yeah, and you probably feel like that because those ones are the expensive ones.
Oh yeah.
That's the one that feels harder as the expensive one. So it's like you might not realize that you made a lot of really good decisions that were more affordable, and you landed on your feet more than you thought, like if you really look back. But then those expensive ones just almost wipe out all the other ones. I know what you mean.
Yeah.
This can't be too hypercritical.
Even TNC this year was not as great as we had hoped.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I don't know how it was for you guys, but we made some changes. We increased the price point. We increased our investment in the show for one, but we increased our price point. We still held on to that 12-month contract, which I think that, obviously we got rid of that. So moving forward, that won't be an issue. But I think the other thing is just we really, really changed our value proposition, because as we also increased our prices, we realized that we're going after a different type of client. And so we had to change the language a bit. But yeah, that was a learning experience. I mean, all in all, we still made money from like TNC, for example.
Yeah.
But now we know, now we learned what not to do.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, we TNC was a good show for us. I think IRCE is our best show. We
That's the ecom conference that you were telling me about before. Yeah.
Yeah. That we just did that one not long ago. That went really, really well.
How many people attend that one?
Oh, well, it's ginormous because they just bought another show and they merged the two, and so it's called Retail X now.
Oh.
So I don't know, maybe like 10,000 or something. It's pretty substantial. I know it's a lot of people. It's in Chicago.
Nice. When you guys do shows, do you do anything crazy? Like, Design Pickle passes out the pickles and they have the pickle costume. And then I dress up like the wrestler and we give out Mexican candy. And do you guys do anything crazy like that?
Yeah. So we had blog flavored ice cream that we were passing out.
What flavored?
Blog flavored ice cream.
Blog flavored ice cream.
Yeah. Also social media content flavored.
Okay. So what does that really taste like?
Just chocolate.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah, but we just hired a local ice cream place and we private labeled all of them with our own flavors and our own funny things, and just put cotton cucumber on all the ice creams. And then we dressed up in pencil costumes.
Sweet. I love that.
Yeah.
How much was the ice cream, if you don't mind me asking? Because that's such a great idea, dude. Who would turn down ice cream?
No one. Yeah. I mean, except for like Europeans. Sometimes they're a little cocky about it. They're like, that is so much ice cream. You Americans are so fat. And I'm just like, you don't need to be a dick about it.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Well, we'll see you later. I'm going to sit here and eat my ice cream, jerk.
Yeah, exactly. So let's see. How much was it? I think total after everything, we did 650 ice creams. We had 2 ice cream cars. So it's actually really smart because we could park an ice cream cart at one of our partners' booth. So the second booth would always be with one Conte cucumber pencil and ice. So it's like we had multiple booths in the show. It's pretty awesome. Oh,
that's a great idea. And these are like affiliates of yours, or you said partner?
Yeah. So they're all affiliates in some way. One of them we provide all their product descriptions, and they're like a product photo company. So we do all the descriptions for them. So they're not like recommending a bunch of people to sign up for a blogging service, but we do a lot of product descriptions. And that's one way that we can utilize our writing resources. I'm trying to think. It was probably a couple $1,000s, maybe $2,000 or something.
It's like $3 an ice cream.
Yeah, but it included the guy who, brought the carts. They labeled everything.
Mm-hmm.
They brought the carts. They dealt with that. They did all the transit and everything. So
it's well worth it.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right, man. Well, that brings us to the end of the show. I want to thank you so much for being on today. So, Chris, what is the best way for people to get in contact with you?
I would say just going to the Content Cucumber website. Also, I'm Chris at contentcucumber.com.
Wait, say that again. On Chris?
It's just Chris at
Content Chris at Content Cucumber. Okay.
If you want to reach out to me directly, you can.
And who would be the perfect person to reach out to you today?
Anyone that's looking to grow their business through an organic strategy, and they know that they need more things to write, and they're not doing it because they don't have time to focus on themselves.
Awesome, man. Well, again, Chris from Content Cucumber is on the show. Thanks so much for being on. To all of our listeners, thank you so much for tuning in today, and make sure you return next Thursday and every Thursday for the next episode of Operation Agency Freedom.
Nice.
Thanks.